Good morning, students. In class 6th, today we are going to have our third part, and that is of chapter number 5 in 6th standard, that is In Search of Peace, about Gautam Buddha and Mahavir Swami. So students, last time we have already learned about Gautam Buddha. Okay, that last time we have learned that how Buddha was small. Okay, when Buddha was at his childhood, his name was Siddharth. Okay, and we also know that story about one person said to his father, the king. Okay, and his father was a king. Okay, so one person, or we can say a monk or a sadhu, he told to his father that your child will become a great emperor or a great sage, that is monk or sadhu. Okay, so because of it, his father, who was the king, he got tensed and he decided that I have to put my child in the surrounding of the palace. So what he had done, he just maintained each and everything, whatever the needs of Buddha he was getting inside his palace, or we can say the surrounding of his palace, whatever the things Buddha needs or Siddhartha need, he is getting. Later on, Siddhartha married and he got a child named Rahul. I think so he married to Yashodhara. Okay, then later on, one day, one incident occurred. Actually, you know that each and everything, whatever the needs of Gautam Buddha, he was getting. Okay, but you know that he had never experienced the sorrow of life. Okay, every time he was getting happiness. Okay, so what happened later on? He is getting already happiness, so later on he want to know about the area outside his palace. He want to see the eagerness. Actually, we are the human beings. Okay, and we are having many things, many ideas in our mind that coming, that we see curiosity is in our mind. Okay, so he want to know about the world, he want to know about his area outside. Okay, so he was eager, means every time he was getting happiness. Okay, now he is he was bound with that. Now he want to see the other thing in the world. So one night what happened, he told, one early morning he told his charioteer, whose name was Chandana. Okay, and also he took his horse cart, and the name was of his horse was Kanthak. Okay, so they both they went early morning, they went to the forest side. Okay, he ordered to Chandana that you come with me to the forest, and they were going towards the forest, and there what happened, he told his charioteer that stop the cart. Okay, that is the horse cart. And later on he he wore the clothes of sadhu or the sage. Okay, and he told, or he ordered his charioteer to take the Kanthak, that is the horse, with him, and also he had given the all ornaments. Okay, whatever he was wearing. Okay, so Gautam Buddha had given all the ornaments to this person, that is Chandana, his charioteer. Then what happened? Then he went to the forest. There he was going to in search of truth, or we can say he want the knowledge of enlightenment. He want to know about the moksha. Okay. So he just went to the forest, and first of all he met his friends. 5 friends were there, and they were Brahmins, and they were also in search of truth. But there was a difference in the method of searching the truth, and we can say that his friends, that is the Brahmins, okay, what they were doing, they were having penance, okay, they were doing penance over there. They were, as for example, we can say tapasya, okay. So for that they were also, means we can say that they were taking fast, okay. For example, they were not eating food, okay, for many days, and because of that their body is becoming ill, or so means Gautam Buddha had seen that it is not the right way, okay. So Gautam Buddha opposed this method, okay. That the thinking of Gautam Buddha is that see, by doing fast, or if you are hurting your body, okay, then it is not, I don't think so, okay, we get the knowledge of truth by means hurting our body, okay, or making penance. And because of that, what happened, we get starvation, okay, the problem of starvation of food. So Gautam Buddha told his friend that okay, I am going alone to other place for penance or in search of truth. So Gautam Buddha went from there, and thereafter one Bodh Gaya place was there, and there he sat under the peepal tree. There what happened? He was doing penance, means tapasya over there, we can say, or we can say the meditation he was doing over there. And later on his mind changed, okay, he got the enlightenment, okay, the power of nature, we can say like that. And later on what happened, he got the knowledge of enlightenment or the truth. So after that, first of all he went to the Brahmins, those who were his friends, okay, the friends of Gautam Buddha. And then first of all Gautam Buddha given the diksha, or we can say the knowledge of truth, to whom? That 5 Brahmins, okay. And first he taught, or he preached the knowledge of truth to 5 Brahmins, okay. Then later on he started his way, okay, of preaching, we can say like that. And in that, what he was doing, he was preaching the knowledge of truth to each and every people. Actually he got the knowledge of the world, that there is nothing in the world, okay. We have to, there were many preachings were there, yes, that we have to learn especially, okay. If a person has to become happy, then there are several rules made by Gautam Buddha, and last time we were learning about that rules, okay. And that is there were different rules. We have seen this Buddha as a great reformer. In that, here we can see that Buddha as a great reformer. In last lecture we already seen that Buddha was a great religious and social reformer. So we already seen that he was a great reformer, or we can say a great religious reformer or social reformer. Means he was working for the people, welfare of the people, okay. So here what happened, after that we also learned that he was encouraging many human beings and the kings also to follow the preachings of Buddha, to become happy. So there were different preachings that we have seen last time, that is Daniel of the God and shawl, okay. So he told that ki, see, idol worship he opposes. Okay, he was opposing idol worship, and that means the worshipping of the idol. Okay, we can say the statue. The worshipping of the statue was not followed by Gautam Buddha. Means Gautam Buddha is saying that ki you do your karmism. Means here see it is written karmism. So Gautam Buddha saying that ki you do karma, okay, instead of praising God. Okay, it is right. I am not opposing your religion, but the thing is that ki to pray to God, the meaning of Gautam Buddha here in first line is that ki to pray to God, it is better that you means it, the best thing, if you are praying it is no problem, but the best thing you do your karmism first if you want to become happy. And it is right, no, because you can today also we can see that lot of people are doing charity, okay, or donation, okay. So many people are doing like that. And in that what happened ki their money is going, okay, no problem, but do you think that ki giving a lot of money to the temples, is it good? Okay, but it is according to the thinking of the people. See, in our country we are having democratic country, okay, India is a, so we are having democracy, and in that it is written all are equal, and all people are having right to take their own decision. So it depends on your decision. But yeah, according to Gautam Buddha, what he is thinking like that ki we don't have to give moments, we don't have to pray more, okay. You are praying, it is okay, it is your God, okay, yeah, that is right. But first thing you have to do your karmism, and he is right. How he is right? Because see, according to me, he is right. Because see, whatever the karma we will do, no, that is our work. Okay, and it is very necessary to do our work. For example, right now you are child, okay, right now you are small children, and your work is only to study, okay, because your parents are fulfilling all your wants. But later on, after you complete your college or degree, then you also have to earn money. Otherwise what happen ki whatever the lifestyle you are living, you will get problem in that. Understand? So to earn money is necessary in future. Okay, you have to become a doctor, you are engineer. That all things are your karmism. For example, see, the doctors are there, teachers are there. They have to do their work, and that is karmism. Okay, and you can see that there are many good jobs are there, like teacher and doctor, and what they are doing. See, doctors are what they are doing. Doctors, they are saving the life of the people. And what about the teacher? They are giving the knowledge to the student, the knowledge of truth. So this is the way what Gautam Buddha want to say, that ki instead of praying that, you just make your more time in your work. Okay, that is karmism. Now, the second point, opposition of rituals. That is, in rituals, we already know that in our Hindu religion, before in ancient time, there were people were using to give sacrifice of the animal. Okay, and it was not right, because we all are human beings, and it is not suitable for us according to our thinking. But yes, in several religion it is like that. We can't oppose others religion, okay, but yes, one thing here is right, that according to us what we can do. According to Gautam Buddha, he was opposing the sacrifice of the animal, but according to us what we are thinking, it depends on us. Okay, so according to Buddha, that if you want to become happy, then you have to stop the sacrificing of animals. Okay, other thing, Discrimination, opposition of discrimination of high and low. See, discrimination, how we can see, rich and poor discrimination is there, then black and white person discrimination is there. So we don't have to do like that, because we all are human beings. Okay, and casteism also, there is a discrimination. So in our religion, in our country, in our world, okay, there are so many discriminations. But what we have to think that we all are human beings, okay, and it is our duty to respect each and every religion, each and every people, each and every animal, or whatever it may be. Means we don't have to hurt anyone. Means what I want to say, because in the world, each and every people as well as the animal, they are having right to live, okay. Other than that, so we don't have to do any discrimination with different types of people, like black or white, or we can say that rich or poor. Okay, they all are, even though they are all are human beings, and all people are having their own importance in their life. Okay, because we are thinking that, okay, if a rich person is there, okay, and he is living his life, and what about the poor? But poor is also necessary. Okay, each and everything in the world is having their own importance. Okay, each and everything in the world having their importance, that each things are valuable. Okay, for example, we talk about the whiteboard, or we talk about the sound, or the fan, or whatever it may be. It may be living being or non-living. If we talk about lithosphere, okay, the land or the ground. We talk about atmosphere, biosphere. In the world, it is 4 spheres are there, and that all are important. And we also know that we can't live without trees. So trees are also important, and so here it is saying that everything in the world is having their own importance. Now, importance of woman, that also said Gautam Buddha, he is saying that as well as man and woman, both are equally important. Both are equally important. So he said that also. And last we were learning about nirvana, and in nirvana that we have seen that when Gautam Buddha got the enlightenment, okay, in a Bodhi tree on Vaishakh Purnima, on the day of Vaishakh Purnima, he got enlightenment of the knowledge, okay, under the Bodhi tree. Okay, that tree also known as Bodhi tree, and that area was Bodh Gaya. So here now he was, after getting enlightenment, Buddha was giving the knowledge of non-violence and all like that things, okay. And he died in 80 years, when he was of 80 years, and Kushinara, and attained Nirvana. And the death of Gautam Buddha was happening when he was of 80 years, and he got moksha, that is Nirvana. Okay. So this was about Gautam Buddha, and now we are going to learn about Mahavir Swami. Okay. So here Mahavir Swami, yes. Jainism also an important place of Indian society like Buddhism. There are total 24 Tirthankara in Jainism. Agams and is the main source of knowing about the Jainism. See, here it is said about the other religion, and that is Jainism. As I talk you about, as we talk about the ancient age, there were 2 kings, Harshvardha and Pulkeshi. Harshvardha was ruling in the north of our country, and Pulkeshi was ruling in the south of our country. At that time, Buddhism and Jainism both were having their own importance in our country. Okay. And here is also said about, we already learned about Buddhism. Now we are going to learn about Jainism. So there were in our country at that time, when Harshvardhan and Pulkeshi was there, at that time people were following also Buddhism and Jainism. Okay, and here it is said that There are total 24 Tirthankaras in Jainism. Okay, so they are having 24 Tirthankaras. Agams are the main sources of about the Jainism. So Jainism is having different literatures also, and different, we can say that they were following Agams. Okay, Agam is the main source of knowing the Jainism. I think so. Agam may be a literature, okay, book, and in that the main features of the Jainism is written over there. According to this text, the first Tirthankara of Jainism was Rishabh Dev, and 24 Tirthankaras are, I think so, they are 24 gurus, and their first guru is Adinath, that is, his name is Rishabh Dev. Okay, Jainism is having total 24 guru, and the first guru name was Adinath, and that is Rishabh Dev. Tirthankara was Parshvant, okay, and Parshvant was the son of King Aswasen of Kashi. So here it is said that the 23rd Tirthankara was Parshvant. And Parshvant was the son of King Aswasen of Kashi. There was a place Kashi, and there was a king of Kashi, that is Aswasen, and his son, his name was Parshvant, and he was the 23rd Tirthankara. He left his home in the age of 30 and became a hermit and preached Jainism. So in the young age only, actually in the age of 30 year, he also, that is Parshvanath left his home in the age of 30 only, and he started to preach Jainism to people. He opposed Vedic religion and ritual in caste system, and he was also like Buddha. He also opposed the religion, means Vedic religion, and he said to people that to do karmism. He also was doing like that only, and he also believed in the same thing of non-violence. Okay, so also he opposed the discrimination. That is, it is written over here that caste system should not be there. Then, other than that, he opposed Vedic religion and ritual caste system. He gave preaching of truth, non-violence, aste, and non-possessiveness. After him, Mahavir Swami was the 24th Tirthankar. We will learn about him. So first 23rd, see here 3 Tirthankaras were given. Okay, first is Adinath, that is Rishabh Dev, and second means after that we have seen that 23rd is Parshvanath, and here 24th is Mahavir Swami. Mahavir Swami was born in Natrak Kshatriya dynasty. So here about Mahavir Swami it is written he was about the Kshatriya, means he was Gantrak Kshatriya. Okay, Mahavir Swami was a Kshatriya and of Kundagram Republic of Vajji Union. And you know that there were in our country in ancient time there were unions, okay, or we can say the republic states were also there. Okay, monarchy, you already know the king is deciding each and everything, but in republic state what is there, the states are combining with each other, and yes, there is a public voting, okay, just like democracy. And Mahavir Swami's mother name was Trishla Devi. His elder brother name was Nandivardhan. Like Gautam Buddha, Mahavir Swami was also a prince, thus he acquired the knowledge of many arts. He was married with the princess Yashodhara. His daughter name was Priyadarshini. So Mahavir Swami also, just like Gautam Buddha, he also got married, and he got his daughter Priyadarshini, and her wife name was Yashodhara. Then later on, Leaving home and do sadhana. So here he left his home in the age of 30 in search of knowledge. He lived like bhikshu, beggar. He did his horse penance for 12 years. So we see that like Sai Baba also, you know that he was also living like beggar. Okay, and Sai Baba was also a preacher of God. Okay. And in the same way here, Mahavir Swami, when he was of 30 years, he went to Mahabinishkraman, okay, and he was living a beggar's life, and for 12 years he lived like that. Then on the bank of river Raju Palika, he attained the highest knowledge, that is Keval Gyan. As he conquered his mind and senses, he was called Jin. Such great mighty Vardhaman came to be known Mahavir. And he lived a simple life, and he got many knowledge. And he conquered the mind and senses, he called Jin. Okay, actually he was known as Jin also. He got a new name. Why? Because he was having the knowledge. He conquered the mind. Okay, he conquered his mind and senses. Okay, it is very difficult to control our mind. Okay, because see, means a human being, we are the human being, and it is see, whatever the life we are living, we are habituated with the life. Okay, for example, different people are doing different work. We are having our lifestyle different. For example, if we see that if we are having a very less earnings, okay, or money we are earning very less, then we will have very less wants. Our wants are very less. For example, we will adjust with the cycle also. But if you see our salary or our income is increased, then we come to the bike, and more it is increasing, then we are coming to a car. Okay, so it is the habituate of the human being. Okay, but so as he is getting means more and more higher a human being, then his habits are also changing. Okay, and it is very difficult. So for example, if a person is coming to the level of the car, okay, he is purchasing a car, then he is living his lifestyle different than what he was living earlier because of the income. Okay, now now what happened ki incidentally he come to the poor life, then it is very difficult for him to live that type of life. Okay, he has to get habituated to that life. So it is very difficult to control his mind or sense to live that type of life again. Okay, you come to know that first he was living a poor life, but later on he became rich, and again now he is having the habit of living a rich life. He was having money and everything, but later on what happened? Again, if he become poor, then it is very difficult for him to live that life, and it is very difficult him to control his mind or sense. Okay, so it is the habit of the human being. So here we can say that here the same thing happened with Mahavir Swami also. He was a prince. Okay, but later on he is living a life of beggar. You can just imagine that how difficult he is living a life. So he has a great control in his mind or his sense. Okay. Now preachings of preaching of Buddha, Mahavir, they both lived their life in full of fear and sorrow. He rejected the God's existence and teaching known as doctrine of Tiratna. Okay, he preached the people 5 vows. Here like Gautam Buddha also, Mahavir Swami was also having their 5 teachings. Okay, what are they? So first is non-violence, second is truth, third is asteya, fourth is non-possessive, fifth is brahmacharya. Okay, So these were the points which Mahavir Swami was having in his life. Non-violence you already know. Truth also you already know. Asthe, theft. It is having a theft means it is doing crime or that all things. Okay. So we should not do that. We have to live a non-violence life. We have to speak always truth. We don't have to theft anything, or don't we have to do any crime. Non-possessiveness means aparigraha. That is, man should not store means goods, possessiveness, ornaments or clothings beyond their requirement. Means here non-possessiveness means what? Ki a person should not keep the things with him as much than their needs. Okay, means see, a simple means a person need what? Clothes, food, clothing, means then the simple things what he needed, but we should not take the ornaments according to Mahavir Swami, that as we are taking ornaments then we are getting greedy. Some of the people are getting greedy, that we need more and more and more. Okay, so that thinking is becoming us greedy. Okay, then he was living a brahmacharya life. Okay, so this was the main preachings of. And brahmacharya life you already know that ki living alone. Okay, and do the bhakti or sadhana or whatever it may be. Now the last paragraph, Mahavir Swami as a great reformist. Mahavir Swami opposed rituals and sacrifice. He rejected the presence of God. He condemned animal sacrifice, yagnas. In the yagna, he said that woman should, so in the same way as Buddha, what he was teaching, the same thing, Mahavir Swami is also saying that he is opposing God, and he is having, means animal sacrifice also he opposed. Then he to preach the people's language like Prakrit and Adgami. These are the old language. Prakrit language is the old language. Other than that, the another language is Ardh Magdi. Ardh Magdi language was also taught by Mahavir Swami, and Prakrit language. Then Nirmana, means he died in the age of 72 in Pavapuri at the age of 72. So here we have completed our chapter. So thank you.